Lesson 187. I bless the world because I bless myself. I bless the world because I bless myself. No one can give unless he has. In fact, giving is proof of having. We have made this point before. What seems to make it hard to credit is not this point. No one can doubt that he must first possess what you would give. It is the second point on which the world and the true perception differ. Having had and given, then the world asserts that you have lost what you have possessed. The truth maintains that giving will increase what you possess. How is this possible? So, how is this? Giving will increase what you possess. Possible. For it is sure that if you give a finite thing away, like if you give a book away or whatever thing away, your body's eyes will not perceive it yours. It's gone. It's not yours anymore. But yet we have learned that things but represent the thoughts that make them. So we have learned that things, finite things, just represent the thoughts that make them behind them. So you do not lack for proof that when you give ideas away, you strengthen them in your mind. Actually, one of the biggest motivation that I continue to record myself is because when I share what I enjoyed, when I share, these ideas away, it gets strengthened, gets reinforced in my mind. So the one who get the most benefit is myself, and I enjoy doing this so much. And perhaps the form in which the thought seems to appear is changed in giving. For example, if I give $100 cash away to somebody, it may not come back to me in exact form of like $100. It may come back to me in the form of like computer or whatever gifts, whatever way. But the universe knows the giving is always comes back to me in many many folds. So giving is always like giving will increase what you possess. So here, perhaps the form in which the thought seems to appear is change in giving. So it must return to him who gives. So the thought of giving, thought of giving, which is abundance, right? You can only give out of abundance. It must return to him who gives, nor can the thought takes be less acceptable. The thought must be always more. Ideas must first belong to you before you give them. If you are to save the world, you first accept salvation for yourself. If you want to give the salvation to the world, you first accept the salvation for yourself. But you will not believe that like saving the world is done until you see the miracles your salvation brings to everyone you look upon. So herein is the idea of giving clarified and given meaning. Now you can perceive that by your giving, your store is increased. So protect all things you value by the act of giving them away. Protect all things you value by the act of giving them away. And you are sure that you will never lose them. What you thought you did not have is thereby proven yours. Yet value not its form. Do not value its form. And this will change. The form will change and grow unrecognizable in time, however much you try to keep the form safe. No form endures, but it is the thought behind the form of things that lives unchangeable. So give gladly. You can only gain thereby. The thought remains and grows in strength as it is reinforced by giving. Thoughts extend as they are shared, for they cannot be lost. There's no giver and receiver in the sense the word conceives of them. This means that, okay, in the world, one giver and one receiver. So if you give something away, you lose it. Okay, so there's no giver and receiver in the sense the word conceives of the giver and receiver. There is a giver who retains. So in the truth, once you become a giver, you get to retain what you give. So there's a giver who retains and another who will give as well. So another person who receives from you, they will also give as well. So in the truth, there is a giver who retains, another who will give as well. And both giver and receiver must gain in this exchange, for each will have the thought in form most helpful to him. What he seems to lose is always something he will value less than what will surely be returned to him. So never forget, you give, but to yourself. Whatever you give, we give to ourselves, because we are all one. We are all connected. So there is only one of us. So there, never forget, you give but to yourself. So who understands what giving means? Giving, you give to yourself. Must laugh at the idea of sacrifice. What is the idea of sacrifice? Sacrifice means, okay, you have some things, and once you give it away, you don't have it. That's the idea of sacrifice. But who understand what giving means? Giving only increases what you have. So who understand what giving means must laugh at the idea of sacrifice. Nor can he fail to recognize the many forms which sacrifice may take. The idea of sacrifice take many forms. So it explains here. He laughs. He laughs as well. One more time. Why he laughs? Because there is no such thing as sacrifice. What I give is always given to myself. I never lose. I always gain. How can that be called sacrifice? So there is no sacrifice. He laughs as well at pain and loss, at sickness, at grief, at poverty, starvation, and death. These are the forms the idea of sacrifice takes. These are the forms of suffering. He recognized sacrifice remains the one idea that stands behind them all these things all. And in the gentle laughter, they are healed. So when we look at what it really is, in our gentle laughter, all these things are healed. Illusions, these are illusions. Illusions recognized must disappear. Illusions recognized. If we once recognize illusions as illusions, we just laugh and they disappear. So accept not suffering. You remove the thought of suffering. Your blessing lies on everyone who suffers. Your blessing lies on everyone who suffers. When you choose to see all suffering as what it is, which is illusions. The thought of sacrifice gives rise to all the forms that suffering appears to take. A sacrifice is an idea so mad that sanity dismisses it at once. Never believe that you can sacrifice. There is no place for sacrifice in what has any value. If this thought occurs in our mind, its very presence, sacrifice, the belief in sacrifice, its very presence proves that error has arisen and correction must be made. Your blessing will correct it. Given first to you, and now is yours to give as well. No form of sacrifice and suffering can long endure before the face of one who has forgiven himself and has blessed himself. The lilies in the course is always referred to the innocence or forgiveness. So lilies of innocence and forgiveness that your brother offers you are laid upon your altar. At the center of our being, there is the altar. Okay, so lilies that your brother offers you are laid upon your altar with the lilies you offer him beside them. So, the lilies your brother offered to you, and the lilies that you offer to the brothers, those many lilies are put on the altar. And who could fear to look upon such lovely holiness? So look at the lilies, many lilies that is laid upon your altar. That is so lovely, that is so holy. So who would fear to look upon such lovely holiness? The great illusion of the fear of God diminishes to nothingness before the purity that you will look upon here. So when you look at the lilies, they are so lovely, they are so holy, they are so pure. So we look at the purity that you will look upon there. So don't be afraid to look at. Look at the lilies. The blessedness you will behold will take away all thought of forms and leave instead when you look at the blessedness, when you look at the lilies, and then that will leave instead the perfect gift, forever there, forever to increase, forever yours, forever given away. Now we are one in thought, for fear has gone. And here before the altar, this altar is to one God, one Father, Creator, one thought. The altar that we each one of us has is toward one God, one Father, one Creator, and one thought. We stand together as one Son of God before the altar, not separate from Him who is our source, not distant from one brother who is part of our one self, whose innocence has joined us all as one. We stand in blessedness and give as we receive. The name of God is on our lips. As we look within, we see the purity of heaven shine in our reflection of our Father's love. It's like a mirror. We look at the mirror and reflect. We look at the mirror, which is the Father's love. So as we look within, we see the purity of heaven shine in our reflection of our Father's love. So now we are blessed. Now we bless the world. We are blessed. We know we are blessed by looking at these lilies and lilies of innocence and forgiveness. We are blessed, and now we bless the world. What we have looked upon, here, we looked upon the lilies. We looked upon the such lovely holiness. We looked upon the purity. So what we have looked upon, we would like to extend, for we would like to see that purity everywhere. We would behold it shining with the grace of God in everyone. We would like to behold the purity shining with the grace of God in everyone. We would not have it. We would not have that purity be withheld from anything we look upon. We would like to look upon that purity only. That's how we bless ourselves. That's how we bless others and the world. To ensure this holy site is ours, we offer it to everything we see. For where we see it, it will be returned to us in form of lilies we can lay upon our altar, making a home for innocence itself. The more we give the lilies, the more lilies are come back to us, right? And then they are all the lilies are laid upon the altar, and then that becomes the home for innocence itself, and also a home for us. And who dwells in us? The innocence dwells in us and offer us His holiness as ours. This is how we make our heart home for innocence. We give the lilies, and the more lilies are offered back to us. So this is the lesson that we studied today. We apply today. I bless the Lord because I bless myself. How I bless myself? I look at the lilies at the altar. I look at the purity in me, and as I look at it, I look at the purity in me. I look at the purity in the world. So I bless the Lord because I bless myself.